tinto takho kumele tibuyele layinini, ungafi mejavu yakhona, ungafi umkhani kangaka khona. Ngithi sasukuma, Inkosi ibusise. Bless you, I love you so
Good evening and welcome to today's news bulletin. I'm Zandile Mpapane. Recapping stories making headlines. The Minister for Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs and the National Malaria Program today, officially launched the ESWATINI Malaria Youth Army. The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade in a statement stated that the ongoing textile strike in Hlangano will force investors to close their businesses. The Minister for Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs welcomed a team of swimmers and boxers who participate in competitions outside the country. Before we get to our bulletin, that message was from Water Aid Eswatini, and it is all about encouraging Yemaswati to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. Well, getting back to our bulletin, in a statement, His Excellency the Right Honorable Prime Minister, in command by their Majesties and the Kingdom of Eswatini, expressed his congratulations to the Republic of France following their successful re-elections. We have a report. His Excellency the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Kingdom, in command by His Majesty King Yemaswati III, Her Majesty the She-Elephant of the Kingdom, the government and the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini expressed their profound congratulations to the successful re-election of President of France. He expressed his firm belief that the cordial relations between the two countries will always exist and continue to be enhanced and strengthened in the years to come. The Minister of Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs and the National Malaria Program, officially launched the ESWATINI Malaria Youth Army, which is a youth that will assist the kingdom in eliminating malaria in the country. We have a report. Eswatini today joined the rest of the world in commemorating the World Malaria Day, whereby the Eswatini Youth Malaria Army was officially launched by the Honorable Minister. This is in collaboration with the Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, the Malaria National Program and other stakeholders. Delivering a speech, the Minister for Health, Senator Nkosi, at the Mountain Inn Hotel in Babane mentioned that she is pleased that the army has been officially formed and that she is hopeful that it will help Eswatini in its goal to eliminate malaria.
We've made a lot of strides towards the elimination of malaria in this country. Even during the 2-year pandemic that we were facing with COVID-19 and that were interrupting our services. Minister, I appreciate the work that we've been doing together and that you particularly had put in to make sure that young people are coming on board not only in the response to COVID, but also in the response to malaria, as we've heard the Minister very, very ably outlining today.
The Minister for Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Honorable Matse Bulunga, mentioned that initially 180 youth applied to be part of the program, and further added that it is pleasing to see the Ministry of Health involving the youth in such programs.
Informed by the submission of our young people at the round table, the End Malaria Fund has collaborated with various relevant youth-serving organizations in the kingdom, as well as young people themselves, to establish the first of its kind Malaria Youth Army Council, which is a group of 17 youth that will lead and give strategic guidance to the entire Eswatini Malaria Youth.
Kenya launched the first National Malaria Youth Army in July 2021 to champion youth engagement and resource commitment for malaria elimination.
This requires a focus on research and on leveraging available evidence to ensure that our targeted interventions an efficient use of resources.
I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Thando Mdluli and Samgelsiwe Mabuza, Mbabane. Following the ongoing strikes at textile factories in Hlangano under the Shiselweni region, the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade mentioned that the ongoing strike might force investors to close their businesses. The Minister mentioned that this will have a negative impact in the country's economy as a lot of people will lose their jobs. We have a report. Following the strike action that has been happening in Hlangano for 3 weeks now with textile factories, the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade during a press conference in Mbabane mentioned that the strike action has resulted in factories not being able to supply orders to their customers, hence the potential loss of contracts and penalties in other instances. The Honorable Minister mentioned that the strike has affected the businesses and have overhead costs to bear while employees are not at work to produce goods that generate income for their businesses.
Where we are at a risk of losing some of these investors permanently. And we would like to appeal to all Yemaswati that whilst we are speaking to each other about these issues and trying to resolve issues of compensation and other related issues, we should do so in a manner that preserves the businesses and preserves the jobs and the livelihoods that depend on these businesses. It is becoming a big concern for us in the ministry as we look at the manner in which this is happening, where we are told that employees are being prevented from going to work and they are being threatened, and in some cases they are being harassed for wanting to or even going to work. This is not sustainable, and it will result in bigger consequences where ultimately the very jobs that we are so proud to have in the country will be lost. Furthermore, let me appeal to the workers' union to use the appropriate channels when dealing with the employees' grievances, and again, this should not result in the disruption of operations. The sector and other sectors in this economy it has not recovered from the impact of COVID-19. We all know that there were many disruptions and there were many interruptions, and in some cases factories had to bring in people on shift patterns.
He concluded by stating that the sector and others in the economy have not fully recovered from the impact of COVID-19, given that these restrictions in the number of employees in the factory had to work on a rotational basis, and in some instances business had to be closed completely. I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Thando Mdluli and Samgelsiwe Mabuza, Mbabane. Macmillan Eswatini today hosted a successful World Book and Copyrights Day today in Matapa. We have a report.
The World Book and Copyright Day was organized by Macmillan Education, and this happened to be exercised. The day was attended by those from copyright sectors, books publishers and artists. The importance of the copyrights were discussed. We had an interview with Mr. Bongani Mota, who is the managing director at Macmillan, and this is what he had to say.
La ekushicelelele ke kunemithetho yakhona, and the Copyright Act is the main piece of legislation emsebenzini wethu. Lesingakusho nje ukuthi kube singathaza kubona lizinga lekufunza eSwatini liphakama. I-World Book Day kube phambilini besingakayiniki leyo platform lokuthi kufuneka si-elevate nesedudu. Sito encourage abantu bonke ukuthi bafunze even ngoba lokho kunempumelelo emihle kakhulu even emnothweni kakhulu.
65 ayadi gogo lekhaya ukuthi iyile intellectual property and futhi ngasita njani ngoba intellectual property kwakha live kwakha umnotho welive Akusiko nje ukuthi kwethu ku-register lama rights lawa ahlalele ehhovisi kithi. Yinto lefuna kuyibona ingena vele isebenza ku-industry. And ukhuphula lo mnotho bakhuphula lama authors bakhuphula lama creatives in the country. Uyazuza personally, not just lo ukuthi ususe nothing le national development, economic development. Ikhona nale private development because nasona le copyright. Uyakhona kwakhe ama returns nyalo nje la besikhuluma yona indzaba yokuthi ibody selikhona, copyright and neighboring rights board. Lelo body lona nje umsebenzi walo kakhulu ibuke lokho ukuthi from the copyright le intellectual property yakho uyi-artist uyakhona yini kwakha imali ibuke lokho kakhulu. So ngilo lelo litawusidetermine lama rates labhadalwako ukuthi nangabe abantu badlala basebenzisa i-copyright yakho either badlala emsakatweni or badlala ima-public spaces.
Dr. Teltolo Dludlu was from the Copyright Office. Reporting for Yemaswati Channel, I am Nhlanhla Twala with Gary Carlos at Matap.
The Ministry for Commerce, Industry and Trade in their aim to encourage women to continue with businesses mentioned that there will be a seminar that will be ongoing in the kingdom, which is all about women in business. We have a report.
Manzana South Member of Parliament Thandi Nxumalo says they are honored to be given the chance to host the first COMWAP Southern Sub-Regional Summit in Eswatini. The meeting will be graced by the presence of the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini and other representatives, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, amongst other countries. She also mentioned that they are grateful for the support the ministry has shown them and that they have been getting much support from the community as Chief Gusa gave them land at Dumezulu.
We will also then be using this opportunity for ComWork to approve the sub-regional work plan as well as the sub-regional budget. The program will entail presentations on major projects by other regional chapters. The Secretariat presentation on trade opportunities and linkages will also be covered.
Sijabula kakhulu ke nekuthi nje ke siyakhumbula ukuthi iSwaziland ibe ngu-best chapter ku Africa yonke recently, and we came with leto dimendlela leto solo imisebenzi yethu sonke hulumende naye commerce. We appreciate kakhulu ukuthi na hulumende lokulaka kusayinela uyakwenda cishe ngendlela lesihamba lesiflowa ngakhona. Even the medal that we got, it was through ukuthi hulumende thina tinto sitithola lula nasithi nje hulumende kunje uyasenda.
Reporting for Channel Yemaswati as Samgalso Mabuza and Zandile Mpapane Mbabane.
This coming Sunday, inkonzo ye-healing and deliverance, incwadi yamakhosi esibili, uma ufunza lo mfowethu Elijah, wathi akunenzaba ukuthi indoda yami ife ingenalutho, kodwa man of God, change my life. Ngiyobe ngithi Sunday, God change my life. Prophet wabantu, uyabakhulula abantu kuyo yonke imimoya, kungabe ngamaloya asemakhaya, niloyo yemindeni ngoba bantu bayathakatha la ngaphandle. Siyobe senda into leti ngende, umtshela makhelwane ukuthi makhelwane, nawusuka nje ekhaya uhlabela ingoma lethi so hamba ngolayini, hamba ngolayini. Tonke tinto takho kumele kubuyele layini, ungafi mejazi yakhona, ungafi umkhani kangekho khona. Ngithi usasukuma, inkosi ibusise. Bless you, I love you so much.
Welcome back. It's tuned in at Yemaswati channel. I am Zandile Mpapane. Before we continue with our bulletin, the message was from Water Aid Eswatini, and it is all about encouraging Yemaswati to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. Well, the UNDP today hosted a budgeting and financial workshop in Matapa. We have a report.
The training workshop of inclusive budgeting and financing for climate change was officially opened today. This was a meeting to discuss the importance of managing finances that got to do with climate change issues. According to Mageduduzile Nhlengedwa, who is the director of Eswatini Meteorological Service, she mentioned that it is important for sponsors to know that the finances are managed well.
Budgets ethu nasiwenda akhona lokho ukuthi I prioritize climate change sikhona identify lapho khona sisebenzise khona imali kusebenta indzaba ye climate change lokho ke kusiniketa iliway ukuthi sikhona kusebenzisa leto imali leto as co-financing for lokunye lapho sinqonqothela khona imali sikhona nokuchubeka si attract climate finance sichubeke silwe nendzaba yokuguquka kwesimo selitulu silive simo selitulu siyaguquka and letimfo letinye letendeka kotingiletiketa predict ukuthi titakwendeka sekuba ukuthi natendeka ukhanza ukuthi noma i-forecast i-issuishiwe but sekwendeka ngelizinga mhlawumbe lelingetulu kwalelo lebeli forecasted lokhu ke lokwendeka kubomakhelwane nathi asisikho immune kuko kuyimfo lengenteka and kungakokumcoka loyo ukuthi sichubeke sihlele silive sicinise tinhlelo teku adapt to climate change lokwenda ukuthi konke lesikwendako kube lokube nalo mcondvo ukuthi simo selitulu siyaguquka timfo letinjengale tidingahle tizivelele kona akusiko konke mhlawumbe lesingakhona ukuhlelela kepha nasihlele kahle lokuningi sitawukhona ukugwema.
Nhlengedwa further elaborated about climate change. The workshop was organized by the United Nations Development Fund and is expected to take 3 days. Reporting for Yemaswati channel, I am Nhlanhla Twala with Gary Carlos at Esibayeni Lodge.
And in our sports news, the Minister for Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs today in Mbabane met with swimmers and boxers who participated in different competitions in 2 countries. We have a report.
The Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Honorable Harry Smart Bulunga, has awarded 75,000 Malangeni to 2 national teams as a token of appreciation. These are the swimming team which represented the country at the Swimming Regional Championships in Zambia and the boxing team which competed at the African Boxing Championships in Maputo. Athlete Hailey Hoyle got the lion's share of 35,000 Malangeni as an incentive for her outstanding performance after she bagged 3 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze medals.
We haven't received any report of unbecoming behavior by any of you, either those who were in Zambia or Mozambique, and for that we thank you. We will continue to expect such exemplary and uniting behavior from you as our country's sporting ambassadors. During the course of the swimming championships in Zambia, we were also made aware of the heartwarming stories of parents who spent their hard-earned money traveling to Zambia to support their children.
Minister, this is the start of great things that will come. We also would like to, even at this point, acknowledge the Olympic Committee through IOGA, who have also played a very meaningful hand in assisting us in shaping our vision.
Ngithi angivete minister wami ukuthi sisabonga bo sports council bethu sisabonga nabo iyoga lebasponsorishako kumbe lebasupportako ukuze sikhona ukuzirana lesibhakela njengoba sibukele live.
And sibonga isupport ekhaya bonke bonke bebasolo basupporta basendele ba messages.
Lucas' achievements are 3 silvers that she has come back with. from these.
Reporting for Channel Yemaswati, Eastando Gutlamdluli with Kimberly Mavuso and Samgal Mabuza Mbabane.
Well, that's all the news we had for tonight, but before ending tonight's bulletin, let's take a recap of the stories which made headlines. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs and the National Malaria Program, officially launched the ESWATINI Malaria Youth Army. The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade mentioned that the ongoing strike at textile factories in the Shiselweni region will force investors to close their businesses. The Minister for Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs welcomed a team of swimmers and boxers that went to participate in different competitions in other countries. Well, that's all the news we had for tonight. Do have yourselves a beautiful evening. Good night.
This weather forecast is proudly brought to you by FSI.